our second regular session, Mayor and City Council meeting, 6 p.m. Tuesday, January 24th, 2023, here at City Hall Complex, Council Chambers. Call this meeting to order. Can we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Councilwoman Montiel, can you do me a favor?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item 3, we have the invocation today. We have acceptance of Pastor Jesus Bustamante of Iglesia Border Lights. Can you please come forward? Can you state his name? Prendale el micrófono, por favor. Ahí abajo. Gracias.
Sí, ahí. Gracias por la oportunidad de la invocación. La primera vez que vengo aquí. No estaba aquí, estaba en Phoenix. La señora Yuri habló con mi esposa y le dice: Rosita, quisiéramos que su esposo dé la invocación. Bueno, no he estado ahí. Dice: pues vas a tener 4 minutos. No sé de qué vas a hablar, pero vas a hacer la invocación. Y vinimos Armando y yo esta mañana porque estábamos en Phoenix. Le digo: Yuri, yo creo que mi esposa está en un error. Me dijeron que tenía 4 minutos. Me dice: yo creo que sí está en un error porque tienes nada más 2 o 3 minutos. Así que se cuenta una historia del señor Abraham Lincoln, que en una ocasión había un problema muy fuerte en la nación aquí en Estados Unidos. Y llamó a mucha gente importante y llamó a muchos religiosos. Y ya en la reunión uno de ellos le dijo: señor presidente, quisiera hacer una oración para que Dios esté con nosotros en este conflicto. Dicen que sabiamente el señor Abraham Lincoln le dijo: yo creo que mejor vamos a orar para que nosotros estemos del lado de Dios. Qué hermoso es cuando una nación, una ciudad o un pueblo hace invocación a Dios. Dice un proverbio: donde no hay dirección sabia, caerá el pueblo, mas en la multitud de consejeros hay sabiduría. Qué bueno que veo una pluralidad de gente aquí, de gente voluntaria, de gente asalariada. El Señor Jesús en una ocasión dio una historia en la Biblia de liderazgo, donde una mujer, una mamá dijo: yo quiero que mi hijo Jacobo y Juan estén a tu derecha, le dijo a Jesús, cuando vengas en tu reino. Y Jesús le dijo: mujer, no sabes lo que pides. Aquí en la tierra los gobernantes pueden enseñorearse de las naciones y ser autoritarios, pero en el cielo y en el reino mío, cuando yo venga a la tierra de nuevo, no va a ser así. El que quiera ser el primero será vuestro siervo, el que quiera ser el número 1 será el último. El sabio Tolstoy, el ruso, una vez dijo: todos quieren cambiar al mundo, pero nadie quiere cambiarse a sí mismo. El cambio de una familia o de una comunidad o de una ciudad, eventualmente de una nación, no empieza por ti. Es decir, no es que yo deba juzgar tu conducta, yo debo juzgar mi conducta primero. Fue precisamente el señor Abraham Lincoln que una vez dijo: me gusta ver a un hombre o a una mujer orgullosos de la ciudad en la que viven. Me gusta ver a un hombre o una mujer viviendo de tal manera que la ciudad en la que viven estará orgulloso de ellos. Empieza por nosotros el cambio. En el libro de Números, en la Biblia católica latinoamericana, dice, me encanta esta bendición, me gustaría que ustedes la tomaran para cada uno de ustedes. Dios le dijo a Moisés: di a Aarón y a sus hijos, eran los sacerdotes, así bendecirás a los hijos de Israel, a los gobernantes también, y diles: Dios te bendiga y te guarde. Dios haga resplandecer su rostro sobre ti y te mire con buenos ojos. Dios vuelva hacia ti su rostro y te dé la paz. Es así como ellos, los sacerdotes, pondrán mi nombre, dijo Dios, sobre los hijos de Israel, y yo los bendeciré. Con esa fe y con esa seguridad me gustaría hacer esta invocación para que Dios guíe a este concilio durante todo ese año. Padre Celestial, Te agradecemos estos momentos, te agradezco que estoy frente al micrófono. Y te pido con toda humildad, Señor, y en el nombre del Señor Jesús, que tú bendigas a esta gente, que vea las riendas, Señor, de esta provincia, de esta ciudad. Que los bendigas y los guardes y hagas resplandecer tu rostro sobre cada uno de ellos. Gracias, Señor, porque te toman en cuenta para invocarte. Gracias, bendícelos todo este año, no solamente esa reunión. Te agradecemos en el nombre de Jesús, tu Hijo. Amén. Gracias.
Gracias, señor Bustamante. With this, I called to change of order on due to we have a couple of people on the phone that have called in to a very important issue, and I moved to change on the reports item E, update Country Club Drive, that Mr. Councilman Gradias put on the agenda, and move it up. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So we have three gentlemen on the phone. Mr. Mark Sanders from ADOT, and I think this is going to be very important for the public to listen. We have Mr. Luis Ramirez and his assistant Martin Rodriguez Nunez. Mr. Sanders, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders. Basically, what are the big concerns on Country Club Drive? And let me give Mr. Gradias the mic, and he'll express his concerns to you that he's heard. Mr. Gradias, you got the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Also, residents of that subdivision, I go through there daily, so we've been running up on an issue of water overflowing from the swamps, ruts in the road that cause vehicles to get damaged or possibly cause accidents in the area, water freezing, hazardous, very hazardous. And I know that we have been working on it in collaboration with you guys, which is the state, ADOT, and other agencies. And I think only through information and knowledge that we can keep our constituents abreast of what's going on and not keep them in the dark, they'll understand what we're facing. It's a hard issue that we need to tackle, but we're really working towards it. A resolution is not going to happen overnight, but the city is not responsible, but we are responsible for getting resolution, and that's what we're doing. Staff has been really working really hard on this issue, and I think we have the right authorities joining our meeting today that will provide all the information that you guys desire. Thank you.
Mr. Sanders,
Yes, sir.
what can we tell, the council and the public here on what's the plan? How can we go about it? What we've been discussing on maybe short-term options, long-term options. You have the floor, my friend.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. And I want to reiterate, Mr. Mayor, thank you so much for inviting me to this meeting. Council members, thank you as well. I will start by beginning to say I want to thank the mayor for pointing this issue out to me personally. I am the government relations liaison between ADOT and elected officials. Last week, I was in Nogales with Mr. Ramirez and Mr. Rodriguez from Ramirez Advisors, the director of ADOT, John Halakowski, and also Deputy Director Kismet Weiss. Apart from the border master plan initiatives that we were meeting on, we had the pleasure of touring the road with Mr. Kissinger, the Deputy Director, and myself. So I would like to report out to the community that we realize the concern and we realize the necessity to evaluate this project. Per the director's orders, as of yesterday, this issue has been addressed to our state engineer, Mr. Greg Byers, which is the highest authority of the engineering council for ADA. We understand the concerns of the community, and we are currently addressing, the needs and the assessment that Mayor Maldonado has been so kindly able to address with us. I just want to let the community to know that, ADOT's been in this community for many, 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 many years. We appreciate Nogales. We have never looked upon any problems with Nogales. So I just want to urge the community to let us do our due diligence and see what the situation is. And I also want to address that it is an environmental habitat, and that is something that does exist in the region. So we are looking at how to analyze and study the concerns of the community. And Mr. Mayor, that is my motive for being here tonight with you all, to let you know that we are addressing this, and that the director is actively engaging with members of his leadership. And I'm here to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, I'll do the first one, Ms. Sanders. Basically, and these are questions that I get, and I'm basically following up. Is there a short-term solution? Is there a long-term solution? Obviously, that's what we're looking for. Obviously, the time frame of the weather doesn't help. But is there anything on the short term that we could do that would help the traffic in that area and hopefully avoid any incidents? Like I said, the weather's been not cooperating. It's been very cold. We get icy roads early in the morning. I know you guys have been going down there. ADOT has been throwing sand or salt in the mornings. Today I got a report that they didn't see sand in the morning, but something we got to look at. What's a short-term solution, or is there? What can I tell the people in the public that there is the plan? Is there a short-term or and a long-term?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we are currently studying the situation. As I mentioned, Mr. Greg Byers is in front of this situation right now. We expect to do an analysis of the current condition of the road. Director Lekowski, you may, I think the public here does not know he's an outgoing director. We have a new director coming in on the 30th of this month. She's been addressed on this issue. And well, I'm not an engineer, so please try not to laugh at me because I am not. It is something that we are addressing, and we are here to currently engage with the community. Short-term fixes and long-term fixes, from what I understand from Mr. Kissinger, most of the problem on this is the winter months, and we understand that. We had a freeze here today in Phoenix. So we just ask if the community please allows us to analyze and address this situation. You guys I am the filter, the liaison between elected officials and ADOT. So Mr. Maldonado, the mayor, has been very kind to always address things with me, and I appreciate that. But we are not looking the other way. If that makes sense to you? We are currently engaging on this situation.
Okay. Mr. Gray, go ahead.
Is it possible to narrow you down to a time frame? Studies and surveys sometimes can take a long period of time. Is there any way you can narrow it down to a month, 2 months, or hopefully a week?
Sir, I understand your comments. I just ask that the mayor and the council allow us to confer with our engineering office. And as Mr. Maldonado knows, we are very proactive. He's very engaged with our deputy director, our director, we're currently examining the situation, and I just asked for a little bit of time for us to be able to report back out to this council and work together on this initiative. And that is what we're asking for. And like I said, it is something that we're addressing. Does that answer your question, sir?
Yes, thank you.
Mr.
And like I said, I'm in Nogales so much, I should buy a home there. I understand the issues, and I understand how great a community Nogales is for us. And we are definitely examining the situation.
You're welcome to come down anytime, my friend. But Mr. Sanders, I appreciate your answering the questions, and do let your engineer that if there is a short-term solution that is possible, to buy time while we go through these cold months that really cause the icy problem. We're willing to do and do a short-term solution, and then look at the future big fix of this problem. I appreciate your time, and like I said, the room is full right now. I'm not sure how much you could see of concerned citizens, and which is
Unfortunately, I just see some great-looking people on the council right now. I can't see beyond you folks, but we made it a priority to be here. We will keep in constant contact with.
there you go.
Thank you so much for that camera pan. We are here to work with the community. As I mentioned, we have a great district engineering team. We have a great state engineer. And this is not something that is not going to be examined. And as I mentioned, we are currently examining the situation. So please count on us to follow through with you. And that is what I am delivering as part of the director's notice and the new director, incoming director. So it is being addressed. It is being looked at, and I just ask for a little bit of patience. Let me work this out, and I'll be glad to come back and brief the community if that's great with all of you.
Appreciate it, sir. Any other comments from council? Mr. Sanders, I really appreciate your comments, and thank you for calling in. Luis and Martin, also, thank you for being on it. The community knows we ADOT and the city have a great working relationship. We saw it through the bridge that we did, but this, I think, hopefully gives our residents a little bit of rest. I know, having the issue, let's just make sure that we continue the services that you guys do in the early mornings on the sand or salt that to dissolve the ice and stuff like that. That I know should be a very helpful and safe tactic to do for the commuters through that area. And I really appreciate all your help. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, thank you so much for having us. And we will keep working with your team as we always do in every issue. And we welcome the comments. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. With that, I go back to call to the public. And, I wanted to do this call before, so I know it should have answered a lot of questions. First call to public, I've got Mauricio Chavez. Please come to a podium, state your name and address. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. My name is Mauricio Chavez. I live at 3061 North Sunrise Place in Nogales, Arizona. I was prepared to address certain elements of what I've seen there. I'm talking regarding a West Country Club Road. So I'm sure you're aware of the enormous drainage problem that exists there. It hasn't happened, wasn't overnight. It's been an ongoing situation. And I hope ADOT understands that it didn't happen overnight. It's been years that we've had this situation there. It's a continuous overflow that's creating potholes and overall deteriorating the road. So hundreds of vehicles pass through this road on a daily basis, including residents of Meadow Hills, Peña Blanca Highlands, employees of multiple businesses, loaded semi-trucks, and in school buses full of children. The road is icy, slippery, and extremely hazardous, exposing, which I understand, a certain agency to tremendous liability. So our concern is not only Meadow Hills residents, this involves many other residents. It involves multiple businesses, including the produce industry, as well as the school district, which affects 3 public schools there. We're requesting the city to help us and address this concern. And I'm glad that I hear that ADOT is aware of the problem, but I invite ADOT to come in every day at 7 o'clock, 7:30 in the morning till 8 o'clock in the morning so they can understand what type of liability they're facing. And also at 3 o'clock when the schools are leaving. You got buses full of children. There's a liability there. So I'm glad they're going to be addressing it. However, I think they need to put a lot of importance in it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council.
Thank you, Mr. Chavez. Next call to public is Mayera Gutierrez. Please state your full name and address, please.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Mayela Gutiérrez, vivo en 1682 West Arley Drive, en Meadow Hills. Este problema que tenemos en la entrada de Country Club, la tenemos desde hace 4 años. Tengo varias amigas que han sufrido varios accidentes ahí. Liz se dio cuenta de una. Se llama María Batriz. El año pasado tuvo pérdida total de su automóvil. Ahorita en la mañana hubo un accidente a las 8:50 de la mañana. Una señora mayor se le derrapó completamente su carro. Y ahí estaba la policía a las 8:50. Como este caso son todos los días. O sea, nos derrapamos, caemos en baches, realmente es un peligro. Como decía el señor que pasó hace ratito, tenemos escuelas públicas, nuestros niños están peligrando cuando viene el camión por ahí. Cuando es época de lluvia se pone mucho peor. Realmente sí necesitamos su ayuda. Yo sé que no les correspondería a ustedes, pero contamos con ustedes. Ustedes son nuestros representantes, entonces alego por su ayuda como mamá, como vecina, como amiga de la comunidad. Somos una comunidad muy hermosa, trabajamos mucho. Yo pertenezco a San Felipe de Jesús, estoy acostumbrada a trabajar en comunidad. Entonces, ayúdenos, por favor. Gracias.
Muchas gracias, señora Gutiérrez. Next, we have Michelle Sandoval. Please come up and state your name and address, please.
My name is Michelle Sandoval. I live at 2882 North Calle Coronado in the Meadow Hills district. I too have the same concerns as many of my fellow neighbors here. And yes, you've addressed a lot of the issues that we're most concerned with. So with everything that was said today, I look forward to a path forward in the issue, and hopefully we can get it resolved early. I too am concerned about the accidents that have been happening lately when the weather drops below freezing and we have the slips and the slides, and occasionally people, roll out of the street there because it's not only icy, but it's curved. So it's, very, very dangerous, especially for the school buses. So again, I will wait for a response from ADOT and see where we take it from there. But thank you. Thank you for representing us, and hope we get a good answer. Thank you.
Thank you. ¿Es todo lo que tenemos, Leti? Thank you. Next we go to reports. Un comentario. On the okay, next is number 5, item reports. Update on Chase Bank. Mr. Dickey, could you please take
Sure.
lead on that?
Sure. Mayor, City Council, just a little update on the Chase Bank, and we've talked some about it, and we gave an update quite a while ago, but at this time, we're kind of at the same point. We know what that FEMA's not allowing us. There's some constraints on how much we can spend to renovate or put any money into the Chase Bank. And the original plans, what that estimate was is a lot more than what is allowed. And so at this time, staff has kind of come up with a couple other ideas. Some we think are pretty good if we're going to utilize the bank, but that's something that we feel that might be a good study session where we sit down and show you what our thoughts are, what we're thinking, and that council kind of pipe in and give us kind of their thoughts and what we do with the Chase Bank. I'll just kind of give you a little bit of one of the ideas is that this here council chambers is also the court. That's just something that we kind of looked at, that this would be both, and then maybe court is over here in this bit. So there's some other ideas, and that's just one to get you kind of thinking outside the box of what we can do to be able to use that building somehow that still meets our needs and makes it as efficient as possible. So that's kind of where we are. So we're asking possibly have a study session to kind of go over this with the ideas and everything. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
thank you. Mr. Dickey, are we having any issues with the floodplain or the flood zone on that building?
That's the issues. That's the issues. We're not allowed to spend more than half of what it appraises for.
And those orders are from the county or the
No, the
floodplain?
FEMA.
From FEMA?
The county just manages, through the floodplain stuff, but it's through FEMA.
Okay, thank you.
It's a FEMA.
Councilwoman Montiel.
Mr. Dickey, I remember for the last year or so, we've paid a lot of money for agencies to come in and work on a plan.
Yes.
Where are we at with that?
I think we have those plans. I think one plan, if I'm not mistaken, council at the time was not pleased with that, so they asked her to leave. And the other plan and drawings that have come up, we have those, and those are the ones the estimate is, it's just the cost is more than what we can put into the building. So what we're thinking is we kind of bring that down and still do something that doesn't cost so much. So the main cost is the court system, getting that where it needs to be, what needs to be with the court. So if we can come up with some different ideas with the court, we can still utilize that building with different departments or something. So that's kind of what we're thinking.
Another question. Have you talked to Judge Fink about the possibility of, the possibility of moving the courts to Superior Court?
Yes.
And tell me a little bit about that.
That's not going to happen. They're not open to that at this time. There was a time that they were, but it's not
Judge
now.
Fink is not open to that?
That's
Okay. No, I mean,
but
there's a lot of rumors out there. So
Yeah.
just want to kind of minimize
we've
them.
all
if we
avenues,
can.
and we continue, and we've asked them the same question again, hoping we get a different answer. So we'd be open to anything, to work out something with them where possibly the court could move over there, or at one time we were thinking of putting it at the old courthouse. But
Old one, which one?
Yeah, the
Couple
old,
old.
the one with the big dome that I'm
Oh, okay.
aware of. Yeah, downtown. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor. Turn on your mic, sir. Thank you.
I guess originally, our concern back then when we did acquire the Chase building was to create more room for our PD here because they can't be transferred over there. But if we could get some of the offices that wouldn't costs so much to renovate over there, then it increases space here. So some years have gone by, so I guess you have time to try to figure out a solution that, with that amount of money, which is not a lot nowadays, I think we paid a little over $500,000 for the building and property. Our biggest asset that we were looking at the time was also the property, because we needed more parking here for the city cars, the police department also, and we needed to extend our property, which was extended by that purchase, for that city park that we're hoping to eventually also get underway and have something, that'll be nice for the city of Nogales and for the residents, for the people that visit. So we got a good deal on that. The only problem now is what FEMA says about spending only half, because we did get it kind of cheap.
Yep.
So that doesn't give us a lot. I hope you can find a solution for the departments that could be moved over there. Maybe somebody like the water department could loosen and this area up here, and find out how you could fit, give more space to PD and figure something for the court, and maybe continue with the chambers here. I don't know, or over there. It's okay. But I think there's a lot of possibilities without having to spend a lot of money. I think a lot of times when everybody wants to think about renovating, spending a lot. And I hope the building's still in good condition. It was back then. But then again, you're going to have to get your team to look at that and figure it out.
Right.
But my question would have been, how does the building look now?
It looks okay. No, nothing's been over there. The police will use it once in a while for training and that, but I tell them to make sure they leave it as when they enter. So it's fine. There'll have to be some work done in there, the carpet, the walls and things like that. But it'll be a lot less expensive if the court doesn't have to go. That's the key. Mm-hmm. And so if council's okay with sharing the court, and the court's at a different time, so there probably won't be an issue, we can make something happen. We really feel good about what we've come up with. It gives the police a lot more room. It gives the court more room. It gives council more room. It opens up the whole side of the building for council to have offices, each person, and so there's a lot that can be done.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed with the county, maybe our mayor, and get together have some meetings together with the Board of Supervisors and see if we can figure something out.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Bonilla. Diaz.
All right. Well, with his invocation, I know for a fact that Councilman Bonillas and myself have been working with staff regarding the Bank One building. Recently, we just obtained an updated appraisal. And I think Mr. Dickey's suggestion about a study session, so we can present those proposals moving forward, would be the best route to go, because right now we need to get everybody on the same page, and then we can make an informed decision. So a study session is the best route. Thank you.
I agree. Sorry, Mr. Gradias. Yes, Councilman Bojorquez.
Mr. Dickey, is there any funding sources that we have for that building?
I think we do, and I'll have to ask the finance director, but I do think we do have some money earmarked for that project. We do. Yes, I'm getting so there's some that council has set aside, and it's still there. It's still available.
Is that just for the engineering part, or?
Nope, that's for doing the project.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Especially if we do what we're recommending, we can do it.
Just one question, Mr. Dickey. The response you got from Judge Fink, how recently, or more or less?
I'm going to have John call him again in the morning.
It's been a while.
But it's been with each judge that's been there. It's been with the county. It's been with the commission. We've worked with them. I know Judge just got in. Fink just got in. So I think we'll revisit it. I mean, at one time, the decision was that, we're not interested in sharing that space or giving that, but we can try again. And I think we're going to keep trying. We're not going to
I
give
think
up.
we got different voices here, and I think got different representation. If I need to talk to him and see what we could do. I think as far as the supervisors, they're all willing to work with us. I'm trying to make a better working relationship with the county. So let's go at it.
Yeah. It was about a month ago that we contacted, but
I don't think it's a relationship issue, Mr. Mayor. Judge Fink was very, very cordial and very excited to talk to us about the problem. We even had a conversation with the JP judge too. What the problem over at the county is they just don't have the room to accommodate the city court over there. So that's the way they've indicated to me. They don't have the room for our staff or courtroom space for them to use. That's the answer I've gotten from them on that situation.
Okay. Thank you for the update, and we'll keep on seeing what we can do. Reports, item B, youth, update youth council.
yes, Mayor,
Go ahead.
Council, we've been asking for some information. I know Letty's got some information and John sent away for some information on youth councils. I've implemented a couple in my past. I just want to say the key to a successful youth council or youth ambassadorship is to have a really good, solid mentor or whatever you want to call them, the person who oversees and helps them out. And usually most councils that have it, most cities, it's a council member that's there and committed to it. And they can go out and recruit someone that actually goes with them to the meeting, so someone that helps them. But usually a council member that oversees it and helps it, they seem to be more successful because they're more in the community, they know people and things like that. So I was suggesting Tavo to be our, I'm kidding, Tavo, that's just a side note. No, Salo's not here, so he gets voted to be the youth ambassador. So anyway, that's where we're at, but that also, we'd like to bring that information and maybe have part of a study session with this and maybe ARPA and a few things to kind of hit these things and then bring them to an actual meeting where you make decisions if you have to with the youth council. But there's a little bit of work, but not a whole lot of work. The main thing with it, you attract these kids, and it's usually the high caliber kids, because what you do is you have a youth mayor, and they apply for the jobs, and then they get appointed to these. And my history, the next year you do okay because they recruit, but the year after that it seems to fall. So that's where it comes in, to really have a really good person that oversees it and administers it, and not a staff person. It really needs to be someone. I mean, we can get it going, but it really needs to be a elected official or someone in the community that you guys all feel good about to spearhead this.
Go ahead.
Have you tried calling the League of Cities and Towns? They have a program that they have, used in their conventions or places they go. They take the youth group with them.
They do. They have big youth groups,
So
and
have
they would be
you
a
called them
key.
to find out how they organized it?
That they, I think, I don't know if it was Lady
How
or
what
John. One of
your
them
neigh-
was
Our neighbors here have a really
right.
well-established one.
Yeah, but they're one of the. They are one of the organizations that we would reach out to and have.
Okay.
So we've asked for information, and I'm not sure who we've got. I think the league is one that's sent us some stuff, and exactly who you're talking about,
Yeah.
council member. They would be key. There's also the National Youth Council Administrator. The president is in Southern Nevada, and he has information. There's a way you get on the register and stuff and become a real thing. They'll even do training, the league or whoever, that come down and do the Robert's Rules, teach the kids the Robert Rules. and everything. So it's a really good program. Once you get going and have the activities, you have that person that can do activities for them where they learn things and go to the events, go to the league. A lot of them will go to the league, youth councils, and things like that. So
So you have an idea.
absolutely.
Okay, good.
We want to come up with some ideas. This is how it is. Do you want us to implement it? How do you want it implemented? And so
So at the next meeting, you'll present
I think
to us
I think I'd like to have a study session.
ideas that you have. Okay, thank you.
Bojorquez? Okay. Anybody else on a question on the youth council? So let's get going. We take any information that the League of Cities could give us, and our neighboring Sahuarita, anything we could get. Let's get it and include it in our study session so we could start looking at it to see. Maybe I'll talk to the high school honor society and see if they want to have kids, put in some voluntary hours and see how we could start, so they have an idea what it's gonna.
And that's key. We want to present something that is tangible and real that they're going to learn. And these kids, they're the ones that want to be involved. I mean, you want to give them these opportunities. And a lot of times you said Sorita has one, and whoever the closest one, we probably do activities with them together at times, so different things. But anyway, I'm a big proponent of youth councils. Like I said, I helped implement a couple of them in cities, so I can always help in that regard.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Thank you. So we move on to item 5, reports. C, update on CPR classes. I'll take the lead on this one. What was it, Chief? Tuesday? Friday we met Mariposa, Mr. Pereira, Dr. Pereira organized a meeting. We had Councilwoman Montiel, Councilman Bojorquez, the fire chief, the police chief, and four personnel from Dr. Williams. What's her name? Mia. Then we had Dr. Williams and Mr. Pereira present. Mr. Martinez was this. And we looked at different options. So, my intentions and the city, I think the council agrees with me. And basically, our intentions is to have a safer city. And, the concept talking, with Dr. Pereira is, how do we go about it? How do we organize it? We're trying to work the little details or the big details. What's available? Is there ARPA money? Can it be used? Is there? Where can we get equipment? Can we get equipment that's donated? Can we do? How much is equipment worth? The mannequins. Chief actually today told me he's got 3 sets. 3 sets is an adult, a child, and a youth, or pediatric. And so 3 sets, that's, basically 18 mannequins, We discussed how many people we would do. We discussed Dr. Pereira, they looked at doing a partnership with the city. How do we go about it, Chief Roy, part of the local emergency agencies, partners, Mariposa Clinic, trying, they were going to talk to Carondelet Hospital. I know the NPD's in for it, fire department, talk to the county, they're all in for it. We're going to talk to the schools, the port authorities, CBP, Border Patrol, Rio Rico Fire. It's not just Nogales. I know we represent Nogales, but how many citizens outside of Nogales come to Nogales? So, we talked about opening it up, basically maybe doing a pilot program, starting maybe with staff and to see, how many people we get, how many people we could get per session and stuff like that, and then open it up to others. But it's something very interesting, and I think we should move forward. We talked about Santa Cruz County Emergency Managers, Hobie, participating and making a committee. I asked them, the ranger station, they're big involved in their community, which is the forest ranger. But, what do we do? Do we, there's two types of, like a basic and an advanced CPR. Does everybody require to get a certified card from American Red Cross? That we know it has, I think, $20. We said, right, $20 cost. How do we support whoever takes it? I would look for any which way we can to get support so nobody pays. Nobody pays, and if we have to pay American Red Cross, let's look for funding. So, but how do we go about the funding? I talked to legal, how do we go, can the city pay? Can the county pay? Do we go about it through the Mariposa Clinic, or, those little things details that we gotta look and to see how we structure it. Advertising, Nogales International, Facebook, La Maxima, radio stations in Mexico, whichever way we can. Once we get it going, I think we could spread out the word. Dates of training. I suggested we do 1 month, one day out of the month to start off and see how it works, and just like we did the clinic and for the shots of COVID. We started, I think it was 50 or 100. What was it, John? 50 or 100 per day. That was the initial start, and before you know it, we had 300, then jumped to 500, and it was 1,000. But I think the collaboration of all the community really helped, and I think that's something we could do. So, I suggested let's pick a date. Obviously, I don't want to take the weekends off anybody, but I suggested a date during the week and in the afternoons that we could do it, and work it out with. Can it be done at our rec center? Where can it be done? Can it be done right now at the housing center? Where can it be done? But those are little details, and I think this is moving forward. We're all into doing it, and think it's going to be something good. That's basically the update that I have. Any other comments, questions on it? We're working on it, and let me tell you, we're going to get it done, right, Chief? And Mr. Bermudez, we talked about, you were going to talk to the local emergency agency. So let's get it going. If anybody, audience, staff, has any comment, any experience, let us know. Let us know. Send me a message. Any council member, anybody in the staff, feel free to let us know. If you're interested in participating. The more help, the better. Yes, Councilman Doyle.
Yes, Mayor. Well, it was only about 6-7 years ago that the fire department provided those services of giving CPR classes. I forget what they charged, or if there was a fee, but you could probably look into that and maybe get some information that might be viable for this cause, and maybe getting the program started at least until we get more funding and it can grow. because the more people that are trained for CPR, well, the community will be a lot safer. So that's something to look into.
Correct. I know fire department has offered it in the past, and but it's available upon request, right? But this is something basically we want to do it so everybody, as many people as we can, and hopefully knock it down to where there's no cost to nobody, and how we could do it. Any, Mr. Gradias, Councilman Gradias.
Thank you, Mayor. I know in the past, this goes to the police chief, we were either required or somehow we all were certified in CPR at a time. I'd like to know the reason that we went away from that. I currently hold a CPR card and I have to renew it every 2 years. But I know that the police department used to require it, or we all had it at one time. I want to know why we went away from it and if they are all certified at this point.
No, I think, Chief, you can answer that, but I think they still do, right?
Yes, we still do. Everybody gets certified in the academy, except the only thing is that the certifications last for 2 years. And so we're in the process of working with the fire department to make sure that we update those certifications and keep up to date.
Thank you, Chief. So, any other questions? Go ahead, Ms. Melendez.
I recall about 2 years ago, they did that at the Consulado. And also the bomberos from across the line were volunteers for doing it. So there's another place that it's also available, I'm pretty sure, so that they have the classes there. That's all.
Thank you. Good to know. I'll talk to the council if what support they can give us and provide us.
I'm pretty sure they're more than happy to help us.
Okay, thank you. So I'll add them to our list because the more the merrier. Any other questions? Chief, you have any comments?
Just have a follow-up meeting tomorrow with a smaller group, and then we'll report to bigger group.
Yeah.
Talk about just.
Yeah, they're out of the ones that we were there. There's a smaller group that's going to work on the little details, and they're going to meet tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get an update. Thank you. Next item, item D, update on Techea Park. Vice Mayor Bojorquez. Ms. Travers, go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Just to update you, we're working on the final details to bring you guys a contract next week, actually, and we will have the contractor here for any questions. Okay. So that we can begin work on that project.
The actual contract, do you have a contractor already?
Yes, because we did put this out to bid back in July.
Okay, so we have any problems with the funding?
We did get approved for the additional funding that we requested from the state, which is an additional $500,000, and they did approve our plan changes.
Okay, so are you going to give us like a phase 1 and phase 2?
This is only phase 1, yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Any other questions? I have a quick one, Ms. Travers. Just go ahead and can you give me just a quick overview of what phase 1 is so everybody knows?
Phase 1 is the existing portion of the park. Phase 2 is the additional property that Councilman Doyle mentioned earlier, adding in the amphitheater. Yes.
Okay. So phase 1 is all
what's existing correct right now.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
If no other questions, I'll move to the next item. Item F, update graffiti abatement program. Mr. Doyle, Councilman Doyle.
Yes, Mayor. The reason I placed this is it was brought to my attention a little over 2 weeks ago by Mrs. Renee Guevara that she had spotted some graffiti on Western Avenue and also by the cemetery. And the thing is that I did speak to Mr. Kissinger about seeing if we had an abatement program or what the process was. And I guess just so the public will know, it's important to bring it out, and also kind of nip this at the right at the butt of it, because we don't want to see graffiti spread. Thank God there's very little. I don't know if there's been other incidents in the last few years or not, but that's the only one that I'm aware of that's been here in the community. But if we can keep it like that, well, that's a lot better. So I was hoping that Mr. Kissinger, I guess he did look into it, and he's got the PD involved. So thank you for that, John did. And I guess Roy will probably enlighten us a little and bring things up to date, and I appreciate that.
Councilman, thank you. Mayor, members of the council. This is more of an update and bring you up to speed as far as to where we're at with the abatement program. Obviously, COVID kind of threw everything for a loop. So we stopped for a couple of years. The good thing, like you said, Councilman Doyle, is that we don't have a big issue with graffiti, but we do have some instances where and they're isolated to different neighborhoods or unfortunately the cemetery, which Renee is going to update you on as far as to what she's doing and how we're working together to make sure that we abate that problem right there. But it's very informal, so if any time during my presentation, it's more of a, so I won't lose track as far as to what I'm telling you guys. And but if you have any questions during my presentation, feel free to ask as we go along. So this is basically the definition of graffiti. Writing, drawing, scribbled, scratched, painted, or sprayed illicitly on a wall or other surface in a public place. We do have some very beautiful murals, obviously, that take the place of graffiti. So hopefully we can get those kids to, at one point in time, years ago, I know that we did a mural contest. So maybe we can do something like that, initiate something like that again, and have these kids that are out there painting, maybe use their talent to help and beautify our community with murals and stuff. So this is basically what it is. If we catch somebody, if we arrest somebody, they're charged with criminal damage, and that's the definition of criminal damage. MPD reporting. Calls for service reporting graffiti at a residence or businesses are often self-initiated by officers or reported by property owners. We're really, I guess, we have a very proactive community that they report graffiti as it happens, and they themselves help us abate it. They clean it and they take care of it themselves. After that, officers document a report to include taking photographs. Officers investigate leads or patterns to identify a suspect or suspects responsible for the damage. And we have pictures in the database of all the graffiti around town. We identify a pattern, and once we identify the pattern, we give those pictures to our Criminal Investigation Division. They follow up on it. If no suspect is identified, we collaborate with property owners, as we're doing right now, to cover, paint, or erase damaged property. Unfortunately, most acts of vandalism graffiti occurs at our city cemetery during nighttime hours. In the past, the Nogales Police Department has relied on MPD Explorers, which we don't have an Explorer post anymore, and MPD personnel to assist with painting over graffiti. Again, because of COVID and other issues with personnel, that we went away with that, and we're doing more of an outreach now, working with citizens, working with property owners. The issue that we had in the past is that if a wall is blue, we got our abatement materials donated from Home Depot. And that's basically what we got, the leftovers. If they had a pink, if they had a blue, if they have a green, and some people just choose not to use those colors. So they do it themselves. So we're working with them to find a happy median here to make sure that we cover those issues as soon as they come up. The future for the graffiti abatement program, and that's something that our specialized unit is under Lieutenant Bermudez is working on right now as we speak. And we plan to continue to collaborate with community partners and future MPD volunteers in police services. That's a program that I want to roll out here, and that's another presentation. But basically, it's a group of volunteers that helps us. Basically, they're force multipliers for us, and that's what I plan on using here in the near future. To identify graffiti in areas of concern, along with continued collaboration with homeowners and businesses to abate graffiti and vandalism. Another one is spread awareness of social media platforms on our efforts to combat graffiti and make it easier to report through these outlets. Right now, we're working on future partnership with Circles of Peace to include them in our abatement program. I'm going to reach out to the Lions, to Rotary. I know that the high school seniors, they have some hours that they need to participate in community events. So as soon as we have a program together, I'm going to reach out to NHS with Principal Colgate, and hopefully they can help us out along with the basketball team, along with the baseball team. Get youth involved, get the community involved in this, because this is a community issue. It's not it's not isolated to any department. This is what we're looking at graffiti in and around the cemetery, and these pictures I took this morning, and we've been trying to get the people that are obviously the FTWs. We haven't come up with anything yet, but they always come up. They always come up. That's examples of graffiti throughout our city, and that's what I'm talking about. The one on the left where it says customers. We just can't go up there and spray them with white paint. That's up to the landowner or the property owner to, I don't know what they want to do with it. We've been trying to get a hold of them, and they say they're going to take care of it. But as of yet, they haven't. So we're doing continuous follow-up with them. On the right, it's a corner of Potrero and Alice. They used to have a nice mural there. I'm not sure what happened to it. But now they have a couple of little figurines there. Again, that's the extent of graffiti around town. Actually, there's other places, but it's not as bad as other cities and towns. So that's really the partnership in graffiti abatement with Circles of Peace. That's the upcoming volunteers and police services that we plan on utilizing to help us abate. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer. Yes, ma'am.
I think you should also call the art community. I know that Angela's here, and you can get the name from that community. I know. Oh, maybe Renee. Yeah. I think it's important to collaborate with them because we don't want to repeat what happened at the skate park. So go ahead.
Yeah. I'm actually already working with Mr. Corey and Aisa to come up with some ideas to bring art into all our parks. And it's a meeting that we'll be setting up with you, Mr. Mayor, because we want to get the kids involved so that they take ownership and pride and they take care of the areas themselves. So we are working on that. I also have some senior projects that they're working on, things like that we will be bringing probably to our next meeting next week, with having one of the students present one of his projects that he wants to put into the parks as well. So we are working on bringing art into all the parks. And then just to pick up on what Chief said with the cemetery, a lot of it's happening on that private property. When it happens on city property, we do take care of it, but on the private property, same thing. We meet with the owners, we ask them to take care of it. A lot of them have told us, yeah, I saw it, I'll take care of it later. And we just continue to push because we don't like to see it either. But we are going to be moving to locking up the cemetery again at night, and hoping that can deter some of the issues, and putting some lights into the cemetery. So because when there's light, a lot of things can be avoided.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have a comment?
No, Mayor, I just want to thank staff, Mr. Kissinger, and everybody for getting on it right away. Didn't realize that COVID had kind of put a dent in taking care of these matters, but I see that we're headed in the right direction. I think it's very positive, everything you're doing, and I believe that instead of having graffiti, maybe we'll have some artistic value added to the community. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mr. Evers. Like I said, working together, we'll get more things done. And I think, if we do lights at the cemetery and stuff like that, I think, it will maybe scare these people away from doing it when the possibility of being seen. So hopefully we could get something established. Thank you. Okay, moving to item number 6, discussion item. Item A, discussion, direction, and possible action on project lists. Okay, I put this one on the agenda. I'm actually, working on with all the directors on getting a list of projects that we have. We got to prioritize. I know anywhere from new funding for the expenses that we got to do with the WIFA. We're getting quotes on new street and actually water. The next one is Western. We're gonna have a meeting at 3:00 next week prior to our council meeting. I don't know if you guys saw that. It is concerning our projects. The list is big, but there's some items that are maybe not necessary now that maybe we could eliminate from the old list. There's some cross bridges for pedestrians over the railroad and stuff like that. Areas where really nobody crosses. I know one is behind the library, stuff like that. But I think these projects are things that we got to look at, and we'll have a study session, correct?
Yes, sir.
Study session on the 1st of February before our meeting, and I'm gathering up. Like I said, besides that, projects that our directors are focusing on, and you guys are welcome to put anything on. Throw it at me. That way we put it on the agenda, and I'll openly ask anybody for any events or projects that they have in mind. But I think we gotta start getting a focus of what we want to do and how we want to do it and how we want to use our capital and money and all that. So, it's basically getting back in the role. And the main thing I want to do on these projects is follow up on them. I know that's I think one of the biggest thing I've seen that we lacked the last 6 years when I was councilman, that we approved, but then basically forget it after they've been approved. So I'm asking all directors, hey, how's this going? Do we have any information? I think us as a council and staff and the community needs to know where we're at with what we already approved on our projects. And that way we don't have something that 3, 4, 5, 6 months later we say we had approved it and it hasn't started. So keep it in mind, council, on see what we could do. I'm open for any discussions or comments, go ahead. Ms. Montiel?
Just for clarification, so this is on Wednesday, February the 1st?
Yes.
Study session at 3.
Yes.
And you're also going to include the ARPA funds, ideas on how to use the remainder of the ARPA funds?
That was, I think, during our meeting.
Yeah, we were going to call it council goals for 23, 24, the new fiscal year. And I think part of that ARPA funds can be discussed.
Yeah, I think we could squeeze it in. The main thing, we had 8 out here, and that was basically the meeting we had last week on, and we talked 2 hours, and we talked 2 items. So these items take time. There's information that I know John, because he's been here for a while, but information that we thought was we knew, and things have changed, but it's going to take time. And like I said, there's probably how many items? 60?
Oh, there was a whole bunch of items.
There's 100 and something.
But what the Border Master Plan was asking for, Mr. Mayor, was the community input. So the mayor was very adamant that before we submit our community input to ADOT on February, we committed for February, that he wanted to have a discussion with council first to get your input on the projects that will be on the Border Master Plan. So we want to put them up on the board and show you what's there, and then so you can all have a great discussion on that and decide what should be on there and maybe what should come off.
Correct.
Right, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir. Thank you for relaying that information that I think I have left out. But yes, ma'am.
I still have more questions. But that may include or may not include the use of ARPA funds.
Depending on time.
On time.
I think we're due on our.
You know what?
Wednesday.
We're going to put it on the calendar. We're going to put it on the calendar, the agenda, sorry, for the work session. We'll put both council goals, because council goals probably won't take long. Just be thinking now of goals you want us to incorporate as staff into the budget instead of hitting you with that at our budget retreat. It's good for you to think about it before, so we have it. So when we start going over the budget, we can implement your goals and stuff and see how it works. And then when we do the budget, we can go through them together. So that's council goals. That'll be after the border. So the first thing on the agenda will be the border master plan. And then we can go into projects, council goals, and ARPA.
Yeah. But let's make sure council, because the one list that I had prior to that meeting and the list that they put on the meeting were basically, there were some deep numbers here and there. They already had them 64 through 300, I think it was, but certain numbers that were already eliminated or accomplished and stuff like that were eliminated. So it's, not just because it's 64 through 300, it's 334, 36 projects. There were a lot of them that they had already taken out and stuff like that. But let's make sure we get that list to the council, and that way they know what we're going to talk about.
So what I can do, Mr. Mayor,
Email.
it would be better if if you would permit me to send all the council the scoring rating sheet that they gave out.
True.
We'll make sure we get that to them, and then we'll send them an Excel spreadsheet. Because if I print it, Mr. Mayor, you're going to get mad at me because you can't see it, no?
Yeah,
the one we're going to put up covers that whole wall.
But
So if I reduce it to give it to you in the handout, you can't read it. But you can read it really easy on an Excel spreadsheet. So if all of you are comfortable with Excel, you can really see it. If not, maybe come see me and we'll put it up here or do something. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. But,
Right, Mr. Mayor?
Yes. That way we're all on the same page. We know what we're going to be talking about. It gives us a little bit over a week to look at it and see what our thoughts. And, I'll work on this week. Hopefully by Friday, I could have something that the directors have approached me on and in their projects, and just have a list and by department and see what else we could talk. But obviously, the goal is going to be this master border plan, and it's basically streets, and there's items there. There's items that consist of county and city, and obviously our main goal is look at the city items. So, anything else, Mr. Dickey? I think.
Yes, just real quick, Mayor and City Council. So when we get the bid in, we're expecting to get in for the Western project. And when we get the numbers and council approves those, we'll have an idea. We'll know where we're at with WIFA. So I think that'll be a good time for City Council to go in and prioritize the upcoming projects after that. So right now, I think I've given you all the handout shows exactly how much we have left available. So when we get the Western bid, we'll subtract that from it, and then we'll go from there. And I was thinking that we could bring that in a study session or an actual meeting in March, the first meeting in March. For that. And we could include the projects at that time too, if you want. And then we could do ARPA and council goals next week with the border.
Any other comments? Thank you. So basically, we'll hold it for, there's no vote or nothing, and just call it for next the 1st, February 1st. Next item, did you have something, sir?
For B.
Okay.
Ready for B, Mr.
Number 6, discussion item B, discussion, direction, and possible action, Nogales Buffalo Soldiers Legacy Association.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, as you're aware, our last meeting, we had a great presentation with a lot of enthusiasm from the council to support the project, except unfortunately, I didn't put it on the agenda right for some action. What staff is requesting tonight is for a motion and a second, hopefully a positive vote on making the Nogales Buffalo Soldiers event that we're having Saturday, that the mayor is the guest speaker, on Class A event. That's what staff's asking for you all to do tonight. Thank you, Mr.
I have a question. When you say Class A, what amount are we talking about? Because I know it could vary depending on the event.
Sure. I have no amount. We're not planning on writing any checks on this event. We're just supporting them with in-kind staff.
The in-kind?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, like we do with the fiestas and the rest of the events?
There are some events in the city of Nogales that we actually write checks for decorations, for banners, for, I don't know, several things. In this particular event, the group that's putting on the event haven't requested us for any financial support. It's all in-kind support, so it's staff and
security and stuff?
Yeah, staff, security, traffic control, chairs, podium, speakers, music, stuff like that. The use of the copy machine to run some copies if they run out.
Wow.
And I think there was one other thing that they were asking for. You remember? There was something else they were asking for to use here.
That's
Maybe
fine. Thank you.
Water or something.
Flags.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Is it flags? Okay. Any other questions?
No, but I'd like to make a motion. I move to approve the Nogales Buffalo Soldiers Legacy Association with in-kind services Class A event for this coming Saturday.
Okay. Second? Any discussion? I think we have had it. Call for the question? No. Not call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Motion passed. I take it. Item C, discussion, direction, possible action, OS 3, May 6, 2023, second annual quarter marathon to include improvements to the Monte Carlo Trail Bike Park. Councilman Gradillas.
At our last meeting, I think we moved to assist Cero Tres with their upcoming marathon, and it was written exactly like it is now, but we didn't take any action or direction in the Monte Carlo Trails Bike Park. Since we already approved the marathon part of it, I'd like to ask staff or ask for direction so that we can move forward with contacting the county and Cero Tres, who's also a partner in that park, so that we can get a presentation or estimates of what it would need to rehab that bike park so we can have another park for our community.
Okay, any other discussion? And I've been talking a little bit on this, and just for council to know, I looked at, details of building and putting structures there. One is restrooms. There are stuff that we cannot do because of the zone where it is. So let's, take it into consideration when we talk to them that, there's things that we can, there's things that we can't do. But, whatever it is that we can, we'll try to, work together. Anything else, John, on this?
Mr. Mayor, just let everybody know that we met with Cero Tres group in your office, Mr. Mayor, I believe. Was that in your office? Yeah, we're in your office. Well, we met with them. So the Fiesta de Mayos on May 6th, it's typically
That's what we approved.
It's typically held on Morley and Park Street, but because of the IBWC slip lining project, it might not be a good venue for the location. So we might have to do a lot of scrambling with the marathon. But as soon as I get the opportunity, we're trying to get a meeting together with the head guy from SAK, doing the construction, the group that puts on the Fiestas de Flores, and the Cero Tres people all in the same room to discuss possibilities of actually having it downtown, see if it's going to work. And see what's there. And then, so another thing we wanted to do is wait a little bit before we made that decision, after they put all the big black pipes down, so we can actually go see it and see if it'll accommodate us. But our goal is to try to get it there. Tao, you're shaking your head because I know the challenges if we do the marathon on Grand, and we might as well not do it. So we'll try to figure it out. But that's the update we have on that, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. And Chief, you got a lot of experience on events like this and all that. If you have any thoughts of other options that we could have the marathon, we would really appreciate it. So when we talk to these people, what other options do we have? That it's probably easier for you to do your traffic control and all that we won't interfere with the traffic, car driving and all that. But look at it, Chief, and see if you find any other options. Thank you. Any other comments? So we'll move basically, with the update on this, we'll talk to Cero Tres on basically what would be a good time frame, March?
Talk with Cero Tres and the people. Mr. Mayor, as soon as they get those black pipes in place and they get all that up and running, that's when we want to have the meeting with them, because we probably want to go and visit the site and determine if and we talked about it. If there's traffic, if there's limited traffic on Morley because of the project, because of the slip lining project, it might work out perfectly for the chief to have a marathon down there, because it's very easy to get cars off of where they're restricted anyway. However, Our bigger concern will be the actual fiestas part too. So we're trying to combine the two together, so they don't have an event here and then the fiestas at a different location. So that was a goal, to try to see if we could bring them both together, and it might work, but we'll know better once you take a look at it.
And do we have any information on what they're looking at as far as improvements? Have they dictated anything they're looking for on
The bike park, Mr. Mayor?
On the bike park?
No, we haven't had that conversation yet. They haven't approached city staff to have they talked to you, Renee, at all? No, they haven't approached city staff on any improvements over at the Monte Carlo trails. But we are, as you know, Mr. Mayor, we're limited to what we can do there. We're lucky enough to get the flood control district to allow us to build trails for bicycles. And I think we could put some picnic benches and trash cans and stuff like that. But other than that, a structure in the flood and the detention pond is not permissible.
Yes. Okay. So with this, we'll leave it open to have them, present us something on what they're looking at, and then we'll wait till the pipes are done so we could talk about the marathon event.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So with that, no need for action. We'll just put it on the next agenda to see how we could work it out with them. Going to number 7, orders. A, consider impossible action of order 2023-01-005, an order of the Council of the City of Nogales, Arizona, authorizing the City of Nogales Parks and Recreation Department to donate stadium lights, fixtures, and scoreboards to Ayuntamiento Nogales, Sonora.
So moved, Mayor.
Any discussion, any questions? Yes, sir.
Mr. Kissinger, are they going to provide the transportation to take those lights and? Oh,
Yes, sir.
okay. All right. Thank you. That's all.
Can I go ahead, Ms.
I can
Melendez?
only say it's a great idea. They will really appreciate it.
Yes, and, when I knew they were available, I know everybody knows, basically, we went through it, the school district, had them, offered, they declined them. So last time I found out, we had issues, just getting the Flesher Field ones, actually got disposed. And I thought it was a shame that we couldn't act, and this is why I brought it up and immediately called them if they were in need and would take them. And yes, they did. They've been working with Ms. Travers on all the logistics and all that. They're taking everything. We're basically not paying to throw. We're taking that cost away. So I think it's going to go to good use, and working together with our neighboring city, I think it's going to help.
Yes.
Any comments, questions? So, all in favor?
Aye.
Against?
Aye.
I have it. Item number 8, ordinances. That's you. A, consideration and possible action of ordinance. Second reading ordinance number 02-023-01-001 of the City of Nogales, amending ordinance number 20X adopted June 27, 1989 by amending the official zoning map by rezoning partial of property in the city from single-family residential 18 SFR 18 2, multiple family residential MFR on Santa Cruz County Accessory Partial Number 102-03-010A.
So moved, Mayor.
Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor. The last time, the first reading, and that was brought in the last council meeting, things weren't very clear, and I believe we were misled because we asked some specific questions from Mr. Paz, and they weren't answered forthrightly, neither by Mr. Paz or Mr. Bárcenas, which are part of city staff, which are part of the, well, I guess Mr. Bárcenas is the director of Public Works. We have the director of planning and zoning. We asked if everything was on the up and up. We asked who the owners were of, or members of the LLC, and supposedly they couldn't answer that question. And because of that forthrightness, of lack of it, that they didn't answer those questions honestly, I'm having a problem voting for this in a positive light. I know the city needs apartments and housing, but there's a process and there's a way to go about it, not in a deceptive manner. And because Mr. Bárcenas wasn't forthright when we asked who the owners were, because he is the owner. And that, to me, shows conflict of interest in the matter that he set up all the ducks to be able to get this process through. And we asked the questions and we got the wrong answers. Now, where's the trust, Mr. Dickey, with your staff? How can we trust these two persons whenever they come in the future and give us a report? Because that's his duty to find out that information. And Mr. Bárcenas knows that he was the owner, and he was sitting here, and he wasn't forthright enough. What's he hiding? The conflict of interest, the fact that he's trying to maybe have a motive of profit in the matter, which is an acceptable reason in of itself for either approving or disapproving a rezoning. So where are we at right now? We have been, in a sense, deceived, and we voted because we trusted what they told us to have that passed at the time, but denied, I guess, from having it passed completely because we wanted a second reading to kind of look into the matter, because there was kind of a suspicious tension in the air. And now we're here, and what are we going to do? Reward someone by putting that dark shadow over things? Or are we going to do our job as a council to the members of this community and bring transparency and accountability? Because that's what we got elected for. That was part of my platform, and that's why I'm bringing this to question. And that's what I have to say. We should have been told the truth. Mr. Bárcenas should have been straightforward and forthright and just said, I'm the owner. And that would have changed things, for at least on my behalf. So that's the question that I have. Where do we place our trust in the future now on your staff?
I'll let our city attorney address this question that you have at this time.
I'll only address the legal aspect. I don't know the other. When this came up last time and you had these questions, I was curious. I couldn't understand why. So I discussed it with the mayor, and he asked me to do the investigation on what the process was. And asked Mr. Paz for all this information and so on, whether the process had been done properly. from the very beginning, one of the first documents in the file is an email informing staff that Mr. Bárcenas was an owner of the property. And as a result of the owner of a property, he wasn't going to be involved in any of the decision here and so on and so forth. And that was the email from Mr. Paz to the staff informing them that that was hands off because of the possible conflict. So it went through the proceeding. It went through the planning and zoning and the commission. It was presented to, gosh, I don't know, there's a dozen members there. It was voted on unanimously, and it was brought before the council. I don't know exactly what you mean in what was withheld from you, but if there was a question on who the LLC members were, and I have not discussed this with Mr. Bárcenas, but in his defense, he can't say anything because of the conflict. And so he's supposed to be completely out of the picture. Okay. And the applicant, it doesn't legally, it doesn't matter who the applicant is. It only matters whether the process was done legally and whether no considerations were made improperly or anything like that. That's the only thing that's the legal standard. Now, as I understand it, and again, talking to Mr. Paz, all the dots, all the I's were dotted, all the T's were crossed. This meets the requirements of our general plan and everything. You know, I was careful to make sure that everything was done. Now, that's from the legal point of view. That's all I can answer.
Okay, so Mr. Paz, when we asked him, I believe even Mrs. Montiel asked, very specific, you didn't know. But now Mr. Machado is saying that your staff knew.
I believe the question was, who is the owner of the property?
No,
is that correct?
No, the LLC was the question we asked. Who? Because you directed me to the LLC.
No,
you said check.
My response to that was I didn't know who the LLC.
No, I know you didn't know.
And I said,
but you still directed me.
We can ascertain whoever the members.
But this is what looks so bad, Mr. Machado.
Yes.
That this man is the director of Public Works, who oversees all your department, everyone else's department.
No, he doesn't.
And if you're going to think I'm that naive not to think that he doesn't have influence, then
Mr. Joel, he doesn't oversee that department. He has nothing to do with the planning and zoning.
Okay.
And that's why the initial email was sent out indicating that there was a conflict.
Thank you, Mr. Machado. I will take those words, but I made a promise to the public. We were going to be accountable and transparent, and this starts on the wrong foot. And I believe my recommendation is for Mr. Dickey to start looking more into Public Works and how it runs, because we need to give the same breaks to the rest of the people that want to do something in our community and not just the employees of the city. Thank you.
With that comment, that was the purpose of my investigation, to make sure that this wasn't treated differently than any other application. And based on what I uncovered,
well,
it
Mr.
was
Machado, if you will check with other applications that have been done in the past, a lot of them have a lot of red lights, where this one had all green lights, and so that's the way I see it.
I mean, I don't know and what other applications talking and so on. And I've always heard that when we do investigations and somebody has a complaint against the city, it's always somebody said or somebody applicant. You know, if somebody has a real complaint with a person behind it, then we can investigate it. I can investigate it to make sure that it was done properly. All I can tell you is this one was done properly, legally. I can't I don't know what else to tell you. I was asked to investigate it. I did, and that's my conclusion.
Thank you, Mr. Machado. Too bad I'm not convinced. Thank you.
Are there any other comments? Go ahead, Ms. Melendez.
So my understanding is that if we work for the city, we're not allowed to do any kind of business with the city. I mean, doesn't matter. I mean, he's just a regular citizen. Doesn't matter he works for the city. Well, that's an extra. But it's supposed to be like a regular citizen. So why? I don't follow. I'm sorry.
Because he's a director of public works and he has a lot of influence there.
Well, according to what I think, then we all have influence because we are members of the council.
Right.
But you don't see us abusing.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you for your comment, Ms. Melendez. You know, my recollection of our last meeting, yes, the actual owners of Adobe LLC names were not said, but when asked, Mr. Paz did answer that the owners were Adobe LLC, correct?
Yes.
But no, the members and owners of the LLC is, of course, Mr. Bárcenas and his wife, Olga, as far as the Corporation Commission goes. But, I mean, you guys can look at it whichever way you like, but I'm still standing by my platform to the public that I'll try to bring transparency to this council, bring accountability. And this is not the end, it's just the beginning, because Mr. Dickey has some work to do.
Yeah, Councilman Doyle, and that's why I asked legal, because I saw that there were questions at the last meeting, and obviously that's why it did not get approved. That's why I went to legal, and I made the questions you're making right now. And, I'm here also to be transparent. I'm here to answer to the questions of the public and try to get every answer I can. And that's what our legal department is here for. So basically, I think I did my due diligence
Yes, you did,
in getting the information.
It's nothing against you, man.
And so that's what I did. And that's,
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I would like to call for the question, and I have individual vote on this, roll call vote. Letty, you can start here with me. I appreciate it.
That's a mayor's prerogative.
Okay, thank you. I guess I forget.
I got another comment from Mr. Gradillas.
Before any voting, I asked this question the last time and I'll ask it again. Is the recommendation of the board to approve this motion? Was there anything that would have been done differently?
Can you turn on your mic, please?
Is there anything that would have been done differently with the discovery of ownership, or does ownership matter when we're doing a change of zoning?
So one of my main intentions was to be sensitive to a city employee, but also put them through the process. So on this zone change, we threw the book. We did every single public notification, property posting, Nogales International posting. Everything was followed to a T. The analysis was also done to a T as well. And so the biggest criteria in a zone change is that the zoning has to fit into adjacent zoning, and it meets those criteria.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to comment on this a little bit. After the last meeting, I didn't know who the owner was, and neither did John, so we went and looked it up to see the LLC. And when we saw that this is John and I, we didn't know. When we found out it was Barson's, I went in and I talked to Sam one-on-one, and I made sure, and I had a good conversation with them. And I think one of the things I took from it, and I have in most cities with my staff, I got to trust them until they prove to me I can't. But what they do and what we do, and it's just, and we do it for you all, we're a little more careful, we're a little more sensitive. we're a little more making sure that T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. We make sure that because we don't want that to reflect on us or the city because we represent the city. I just want to put that out there. I had a really good conversation with him, and I had a conversation with the mayor too, and told him what I found out, and he advised me that he had talked to Joe. So there's been a lot into this, and I think at this time, this person is going through, and we're putting it through the process and everything. And if we were to deny that just because we hearsay or we think something's up, I think we would be in a lot of we'd be in a legal problem on the other end by that person. He'd have every right to take legal action on us if we were to deny going through the process. I'm not saying deny the permit or anything because that's up to where you guys come. I'm just saying deny him the process to go through this.
Mayor, I'd still like a roll call vote.
Okay. Any other comments? Take a roll call vote.
Sorry, was there a motion? I did with all the, no, there wasn't or there was?
Second.
Okay.
Yeah, we're discussing. Letty, we'll take a roll call vote. I'll start with me. Aye.
Nay.
Nay.
Aye.
Yes.
Nay.
It doesn't pass. It's tied 3-3.
Solo's absent.
Pardon me?
Solo's absent.
Yeah, I mean, so motion does not pass 3-3.
That's fine.
That's final for now, yeah.
So, no, motion does not pass. All right, I did not notice we did not put any future items on the agenda. So we can open it to future items, right?
Is it on the agenda?
No, it's not on the
No.
agenda. Okay. So, item 9, motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.